quite okay because it's made from soya beans, even the coloured ink. But what isn't good is the coating that's put over it to make it glossy, and that is not good. Joe, I'll let you talk about that a bit.
Yeah, thank you very much, Gail. And good day, everyone. I have the remaining minutes for me, and actually for you. I'm here for you, so give me a hard time. Questions at any time, interrupt me. It's your time. It's a very precious 2 hours we spent together. And as you have seen, the issue is a big one. So what I am actually going to do, get you a step further and bring in other issues on top of it. And one, of course, is quite a big one, and I don't know if you agree with me, but definitely we had the oil peak already, well, right in the oil peak. Does anybody not know what the oil peak is? You all know, you don't know. Okay, well, we have used up our oil reserves now, the half of the oil we had on this planet the last 100 years. We had an easy life with cheap energy, but that cheap energy is actually gone. Now the demand is, of course, coming up horrendously because of booming economies in China and India, and less oil available. And you must have noticed the oil price. And just saw an interview with the energy banker of the world, Matthew Simons, and he's predicting very soon a barrel of oil will be $250 US. And you can imagine what that means to agriculture, for instance, or transport, or energy in general, electricity. It's going to be really a challenge to us now, prepare ourselves in a very short time for this challenging times ahead. I found out, actually, I started thinking that the same thing I'm going to talk to you here now, I did 35 years ago. Isn't that a funny situation? I started giggling, I thought, this is amazing. But at that time, nobody listened to me. They said, oh, bloody greenie, off the planet, you know, all nonsense. Hopefully you listen this time. And that time I said everything for free. Now I get a few rates dollars off you for the next hour to talk to you. And I've got a t-shirt too, a smart looking one too. And the other day somebody walked up to me and said, why should I worry about it? Look at Rodney, it's nice and dry anyhow. So what is the problem? You can interpret it the way you want it. But I want to actually go a little bit further and challenge you a little bit more. Like when I look here, don't shop at all. Make your own shoes, make your own food and chips or whatever you can. We are in such a lucky position. I've been living in many countries. I think I worked in 37 and lived in a lot more. And coming to New Zealand 25 years ago, I couldn't believe it. This country has so much going for it. You know, the low population, the resources, the demographic isolation, you know, far away from problems. But we have to wake up and do it the Kiwi way. You know, and we do it very well here. When I say we, I feel like a Kiwi after 25 years in New Zealand. I might still have an accent, but it doesn't matter. Hope you understand me. What I would like to say that here we have the potential to set an example. As Helen Clark said, let's become a nation of sustainable living, a sustainable nation, to show the rest of the world we can live sustainably. But we have a double whammy to deal with, and that's the one, climate change, as you have seen on the video. It's real. And there might be some skeptics here. I don't know if Kevin turned up. I invited him. Is Kevin here? No, he didn't come. What a pity. Kevin is a person from Waimuku. He wrote a letter to the Rodney Times. Maybe you read it. Did somebody read it? Yes. Is Kevin not here? What a pity. I would have loved to meet him. Anyhow, he said it's all nonsense. No climate change, no global warming. It's all propaganda. But interestingly, he fell victim to the very propaganda machine he was warning us about. He fell a victim to propaganda. The evidence is quite overwhelming, and if you're still a skeptic and you think it doesn't happen, have a quick look maybe at this graph here. This is New Zealand graphs from Bering Head And they measured here from since 1970 to 2005 the emissions. This is carbon dioxide, this is methane. Of course, it's very high here in New Zealand with agricultural-based industry, sheep and cattle, and even other sources of methane, like composting. Trish mentioned composting. If you don't do it careful, you actually emit greenhouse gas too, methane. Methane can be even more dangerous, more damaging than carbon dioxide. And another one is a nasty one, and be very high here in New Zealand, nitrous oxide. That's coming off the land again. You know, we are actually, our agriculture system here is totally oil-based. Everything is oil. The synthetic fertilizer that we put on, the artificial fertilizer, the pesticide, and then urea and so on, everything is just oil, oil, oil. Actually, we're eating, on the whole planet now, we're eating out of an oil well. So how is this going to go on if the oil starts disappearing and becoming expensive?
Wait.
Yes?
Slow down.
Yep.
Where does nitrous
Oxide come from?
out of the land?
Mainly the main sources of nitrous oxide is, of course, the urea application. Urea?
Oh, fertilizer.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The nitrogen application. And in Europe, actually, new laws, you cannot apply nitrogen anymore in huge areas of Europe. We dump it on here on our dairy farms horrendously on high amounts, and then, of course, we pollute our water tremendously with nitrous oxide, with nitrogen, which turns into nitrite or nitrate and becomes very poisonous, even for animals. And you have heard maybe of the blue baby syndrome? That's the water that is contaminated through this application of nitrogen. Yeah. That's the main, but there's some others too, small amounts coming from other industries too. Yes, Carl?
An example is like Red River.
Yes, there's natural nitrous oxide, there's of course natural carbon, and methane natural too. Quite a lot coming, because I grow rice in Maracana, I was immediately concerned how much methane is coming off rice paddies of the world. And so I got the figures, it's actually quite high. Rice paddies emit a lot of methane gas. Even a compost heap, a composting toilet can emit some. We have composting toilets. So I measure everything because I want to stand here and talk about it and know what am I doing. How is my ecological footprint? Yeah? So I'm very honest about it. Does anybody know why this looks so funny here? This is methane, CH4. Why is it going up and down once a year at least? Why?
Is it seasonal? It's usually the
That's right, yeah. That's seasonal, yeah. Because of the northern hemisphere with deciduous trees, they're not absorbing anything, so you have this jump up and down always. But in general, have a look. If somebody is here still a skeptic, look at this. There's enough evidence that anthropogenic influence is happening. I, for one, believe in cause and effect. I looked at it for over 60 years now. It works, yes. There is a cause and you will have an effect then. That's what it is. But what are we going to do if practically everything is oil? If you look at in here, everything is oil. Packaging, plastic, some of the color, everything coming out of the oil industry. So I think we can do much better, and I would like to go to the next one. It's very encouraging, and for us permaculture people, we have done it for many years, for 30